Step off the plane, see gal one deep is cut. I tell go and make a gal boom boom snap. Smell round here like season for run me give her.
Do you think, again, because I've had a couple of conversations with people, and I believe it's something called imposter syndrome, where it's that feeling of you don't feel that you belong in that class, or you don't acknowledge that class.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I feel like that's somewhat subjective in the respect that I'm talking of an experience as opposed to like what I think is from my experience. I'm not saying another black man has to think like me. If he thinks he's middle class and that, then all good, live your life. And if you think you're upper class or working class, live your life, enjoy it. But for me personally, from my experience, I'm not in that class system. It's not I would feel like an imposter to be in that class system, because when I'm talking to people for whom it doesn't really matter about class, then I can always have them like high level, them conversations of levity, right? Levity of mind where you're interested in, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter about colour of skin in that respect, but those situations where you would receive either good or bad from the class system, I don't feel I'm in it. I don't feel I would.
But do you feel then that if you were described as middle class, do you think that would in some way negate your blackness? Oh, wow, where did that come from? That just popped into my head.
No, because it's like the person who describes me as that, it doesn't change what my experience has been and what my...
Is that how you feel? Do you feel you can be black and middle class?
Right. I suppose when you talk to an American about the class system, it's quite funny because they don't have a class system. So it's like, it's completely like I'm almost like them in that respect because it doesn't apply to them. They're not really too fussed to spend too much mind space on this whole thing. They know it exists. They know that it's a thing in England, but like it doesn't affect them. And if they went there, they say that they're coming here and they're American. Do you get me? Like they're not, and it's not just a black thing. I don't think. As I said to you in the last show, I felt it was if you are not from here. I was born here. My parents have been here for time. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm properly British. I'm not from anywhere else. I'm English. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But some people would see me as not English because of seeing me and thinking, well, no, you're not white. You get me? And like what I'm saying is, anyone who falls into that category of those people seeing them and saying, well, you're not British, I don't think they suffer the positive or negative from the class system.
But then are we then looking at blackness and Britishness as two separate identities?
No, because I'm British. I'm talking when I tried, what I was trying to explain there is, back in the day, you used to have a thing that was foreign, right? People used to say foreign, and foreign meant like you could have been Italian, you could have been Spanish, right? And it was like you were all foreign, like not even trying to, almost like BAME, yeah, black Asian minority ethnics. Like, I'm not going to bother telling you what it is I'm talking about. I'm just going to put you in this group, and that's you, foreigners. And I'm saying all of those people that would fit into those groups, to me, in my opinion, don't suffer the good or the bad from the class system in the UK.
But what about someone like Rishi Sunak or Priti Patel? They're non-white. Surely they're middle class. Their parents are shopkeepers or whatever.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is I don't feel that they would suffer the positive or the negative from the class system. If, for example, they suffered positive or negative, it might be because they've done all right and they've maybe, when they walk into Parliament, the guy opens the door for everybody. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that's the thing that he does for the people then when they walk in there. It's not because of the class, because of where you're at. I'm saying I don't believe that they suffer any positive or negative from the class system.
But so where I live, it's nice. We've got front gardens, back gardens, 3 wheelie bins. Some of us have got 4. My little old lady next door, she's only got 2. Don't judge me, you don't know her. She only need 3 bins, right? But some of my friends, black friends, they live around here, nice house, nice car, nice job. Their kids go to a nice school. They went to university. Their kids will go to university. Will their kids be middle class? Or will their kids always be unable to join that group because of the colour of their skin?
I mean, you can obviously be whatever you want to believe, whatever you believe you can be, right? So like, if I wanted to sit here and say to you, like, I mean, you see certain people who are like quite posh and want to hold on to their working class roots, whether black, white, Cuban, Asian, whatever, right? So they'll be talking on whatever television program, like, oh, and I'm working class, even though you see me wearing whatever I'm wearing, I'm working class, and trying to like debate the fact of that. So anyone can be and perceive themselves of whatever they want to perceive themselves as. So if someone wants to strive to be upper class, I mean, man, even a black man can be white with cake soap nowadays. You get me? Like, end of the day, and I'm not supporting cake soap, but what I'm saying is you can be what you want to be. I just feel, sir, what whatever I would feel I'm middle, upper, working class, any of them things, from when I walk into a pub when no one knows me, majority of people are turning around and seeing a black man. They're not seeing a middle class man, a working class man, a upper class man, and I could be dressed like
But,
any of them.
but when
Dickensian
I
gent
walk
with a
into a
hat.
pub, do they see when I walk into a pub? Do people see middle class, working class, what?
Well, nah, the walking into a pub was probably a stupid
No, no,
thing to
no, no,
say
no. But use
because,
that. Keep with that.
yeah, I mean, depends what kind of pub, innit? I'm talking like the pubs where you walk in, it's silent because everyone knows each other, a proper pub. Do you know what I mean? It's silent not because you're black or white or whatever. It's silent because they don't know you, and only
I
people that
think
walk through the
outside of
door.
London it's different. I like to think London's different, but it seems to me that there's this whole thing about what is blackness, and there's been, I think, especially since last summer with Black Lives Matter, and there's been quite a lot of conversations about it. I was talking to a mate last week he's a black guy, who was asking me why don't I call myself English? So 'cause I'm not English, I'm not Irish, I'm not British, I'm somewhere between them. My Irishness I put forward only so people don't think I am in some way white English and therefore have a view historically, economically, and culturally now about certain things. So if I see a Union Jack or a flag of St George, I reject it. I don't see that as a positive thing.
So it's
And
funny you say that, right? Because I used to feel the same because I grew up in a time when it was like um, societies of people whom were groups of people. I suppose you'd probably call them terrorists now, but like their whole sole aim was to like beat up black people, right? That was their thing. Um, so like having grown up in that time, the flag that you just spoke of was seen to me. I used to see that flag and I used to feel fear, yeah, like be on my toes, like I might have to run. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how I used to feel. And then don't know what happened. I maybe it transformed in my mind. I maybe like time traveled it. If you see one of the earlier shows, like went back, thought about it through time, saw how it affected me in a different way. And yeah, I used to go on holiday and I'd always wear an England shirt. Always take at least one England shirt when I go on holiday, right? And there was two reasons. Number one reason was to not be that guy in the England shirt. Do you understand? So I'd be the guy in the England shirt, but I wouldn't be behaving like that guy in the England shirt. So it could kind of show that just because you're wearing this shirt don't mean that you're that guy. And then on the other side, support England, mate. And I'm English. You get me? So I'd wear it. And my parents used to have ache about it. Not my dad so much, but my mum used to be like you're in the Caribbean, like, or you're in America, or wherever you're at, like, and you're wearing this England shirt, like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm English. And she's like, but are you? And I'm, yeah. So it's what you feel you are. And I know say I'm English.
Yeah.
Like, I know say
Yeah.
I'm English because you drop me anywhere else and I'm not home, man. I'm not. It's not where I'm from. It's not.
But see, I've never worn an English shirt, and I've never supported the England football team. I support the Ireland football team. I want England to do well because it's a country that I live in, but I don't feel an association with it on that level that you would presume because of how I look and sound, right? And then that comes back to we're all being judged. Obviously, not getting into this whole other area of like race and that, but just in terms of how we feel ourselves inside. My missus very proud to be English, loves her queen, loves her country. But I don't feel that involvement because it's alien to me. Because when I was a kid, those things I associated with them, not us.
Right.
It's how you define it. I had a conversation this afternoon with a friend. He's a white guy, and I was explaining to him how I should be voting Conservative. I should, right? Because I'm a property owner, I'm a business owner. I've got stocks and shares. I've got a couple of degrees, right? I've got my four wheelie bins, but I could never vote Conservative. And he was going, yeah, but why not? You are the natural voter for Tories. Come from an immigrant family, made good. And you know what? It's because the Conservatives to me are them. Are them. Two of my best friends are massive Tory voters, and I've got respect for them because I understand why they've chosen that. But for me, Tories are them. That goes with that flag, and that goes to my core of my upbringing, and it's very well defined. So
Talking of which, right? Any roots that are in any person, like you've just spoken of there, the core of your upbringing being necessarily opposite to what you're living now in the respect of like, because of
absolutely,
because of
100%,
the things that you
100%.
got to be grateful for, yeah, all them things that you described,
Yeah,
you got
loads.
to be grateful for.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's two things there. Number one is like it's the gratitude for the things of where you're at now, despite who you vote for or whatever. For me, mental health wise, and allowing yourself to be receptive and have opportunities and see them, being mad grateful for what you can be grateful for. can be a good thing. It's Mental Health Week this week, and I think we should talk about this stuff more than just Mental Health Week. But that's one thing.
But these are all things that affect us because mental health, right? It's about our identity, how we see ourselves, how others see us. Mental health is about how you think, how you feel, how you behave, and that is very much guided a lot of time by history,
Indeed,
our personal histories.
indeed. But you can time travel that. You can go back upon that history, that personal history, like I just described to you with the St. George's flag, and you don't have to be shackled to whatever your history has brought you to believe, is what I'm saying. In the respect of it, the history had brought me to believe, I see the St. George's flag, be on your toes. Inside me somewhere, every time I see that flag, I'm on my toes, bruv. I'm at least ready to be out of there, right? But it's not as it's almost like subconscious now compared to before, very, very, very
I see that.
conscious.
I
And
see
part
that.
of that's time, but part of it is going back and learning about it in a different way, seeing the reaction I get from people when I'm that guy wearing the England shirt, but I'm not that guy, because they're always often like, yeah, but clearly you're not that guy. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, because you're black in it. And I'm like, no, but I'm English. And they're like, do you know what I mean? And it starts an interesting conversation, whatever they happen to believe. It shows me
No, I
as
see
such,
that. I
again,
see that.
that like I don't sit in that class system. Do you know what I mean? I suppose my
When I
appearance
was a kid,
precedes people's views upon me sometimes.
okay, when I was a kid, I was good enough to play cricket for the borough,
Go on.
but I wasn't allowed because it was my dad saw it as an empire game. I went to Cubs, and for the best Cub of the week or whatever, you could go to church parade and carry the flag, right? But I wasn't allowed to because I wasn't allowed to carry the Union Jack.
So,
So from a very early age, it was always we and them. And again, going back to a conversation I had with a mate of colour last week, was about, I think that in my experience of most of the black people that I know, they've always wanted to fit in, and they've always given white people more than enough opportunities to allow them to fit in. But I've always felt left down, right? Let down. Whereas in our Irish community, again a generalisation, but everyone that I know feels this way. We wouldn't give them the opportunity to reject us. So our sense of self was very, very strong. It's a much smaller community as well. So we had that much. So even
indeed,
like,
but when you say sense of self there, I got to say, when you say sense of self there, the sense of self is associated with that sense of group. You understand what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
describe is that gratitude allows you to be receptive enough to learn about yourself, see why them roots are there, and whether they actually align with you now and you're cool with that, or whether they don't align with you now but you're going to follow them anyway and you're cool with that, or they don't align with you now and you're going to decide to look at it in a different way. I'll give you a simple example of this.
well,
And I'm working at this every day, right? I'm not a genius at
yeah,
it in any way. I'm working at this every day. Um, an example of this is when I like reading, right? But I used to read a book, and if I'm reading a book, then it might make me think, oh right, I want to read this other book, but I'd never stop reading that book. Even if I've read that book 5 times, and I'm on the sixth time, and then oh, that's reminded me of this. I would read that book and finish it before I go and look at that, and have to write a list and have this never-ending list. And then I realised that was something I'd created in my own mind years and years ago when I probably wasn't into reading, right? Like, make sure you
yeah,
read the book, yeah? Don't just skit around, read the book to the finish. And then I'd allowed that to chain me into this box of where you can't expand your mind by reading the things that you have in your house, even at hand, because you've been interested in it, because you've created this rule. So I decided that's a load of rubbish, and decided if you want to read 2 books at the same time, 3, 5 books, pick them up, read them, be interested
yeah,
in
yeah.
them.
Dip into it.
Yeah.
Dip into it.
But what I'm
I'll do
saying is
that.
I had to realise
I'll
about
do that.
myself that I'd stupidly made a restrictive rule upon myself about reading books for no reason. And being grateful for the fact that I've even got the books around me led me to believe actually just read them. And I'm saying what can help with this sort of mindset for me is allowing your mind to rest, which is basically meditation, but it doesn't have to be as difficult as people talk of. Because people talk of meditation and they switch off in it because they're like, oh, that sounds like something
Yeah,
hard. And right, I like ironing. I've spoken of this before. I know this t-shirt maybe don't look like it, but I like ironing.
yeah.
When I'm ironing, I'm not thinking about nothing else. Single pointed thought. I'm ironing, right? That's it. For however long I'm doing it for, I'm not thinking about what happened in the daytime, what tunes on the
Have you still
radio.
been ironing throughout lockdown? Did you iron all
Yeah,
through
yeah,
COVID?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's more than just the clothes for me. It's about that space for your mind to just
Yeah,
go.
yeah. See that?
No, and when
I see
you're,
that.
what I'm trying to say is when you're thinking about one thing only, which for me in that case is ironing, you're in a meditative state, right? Because you allow your mind to relax and stop thinking about everything else. If you think about walking all the time, and not sleeping and giving your body time to relax, and you're going to be achy. And your mind's the same. So find something that you can do maybe that you don't really need to pay too much mind to. Might be doing a crossword, whereas to me that would be like, how could that be not paying mind to it?
Sudoku.
Yeah, that could be for someone.
Sudoku, Cicada, Goo, whatever you call it.
Same thing.
That's the one. That's the one.
For real. This is a random one, but I just wanted to point it out. Random observation, bruv. Fragrance adverts, yeah? You've seen fragrance adverts, like when Christmas comes and they're selling like Christian Dior or whatever, right? The one thing they all have in common is they always have water around, which is ironic because the only time that you wouldn't put on any fragrance is when you're wet.
Isn't it because fragrance, like eau de cologne, is water, isn't it? The eau bit is water. There's me going French and you know.
Yeah, but like you wouldn't put the fragrance on when you're wet. It's always like diving into the water, the ocean.
Have you got loads of different types?
Yeah, man, I smell Chris. I smell absolutely Chris. You want to be sat here next to me right now.
Varieties.
Nah, I'm not going to go there, man, because I'm going to... Well, I'm just going to say, man, I'll just wear oil-based things. Because in one spray and it stays.
I don't like the smell. Like women's perfume, I think, okay, get it. But if you want to attract me, smell like a pie. Or a bag of chips. Do you know what I mean? Smell like that moment when your team scores a goal. That moment right there. But like we went Gran Canaria once and the plane was delayed, so she went into the duty free and they did this little makeover thing and I was standing there with her. And this girl was going, "What do you think of this, sir? Do you like the smell of this?" Got a bit of paper, I'll give it to me. I'm like, are you selling polish? She was like, "No, sir, that's not polish. That is Le Viande de l'Etoile." I'm like, well, yeah, I don't like it. Well, that's fine. I said, we had a cat used to make a smell like that. We had it put down. This girl's determined to get me to smell something that I like the smell of. I'm not making this up. At which point, someone spilled something, cleaner came out of a mop on a bucket. I said, I like that. What's that you got in there? And the woman goes, it's just some detergent. I went, there you go, bit of detergent. That's all I need. Smell of carbolic soap.
Do you know what, right? When we're allowed round each other's houses, come round here, I'll give you a couple sprays, bruv. And you can sit there and hate yourself.
Shout before you let me in. We can watch some Nigella together, have a few beers, watch Nigella.
I don't know what you're trying to insinuate there, but I'm not really comfortable with it.
So you're sitting in the corner.
What's that? Oh, yeah, I'm there. I'm a bit slow sometimes, bruv. But
never mind.
There we go. Good show. Well, I enjoyed it anyway.
Oh, well, glad you did.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the main thing. It's all about you, isn't it?
Exactly.
Get people to put comments in the box if they want to take us up on anything that we've mentioned.
Indeed, put it in the comments. Let us know how you're feeling about the show and thing. Big up John Pants, my bridging John Pants. That's a Fiumnium who's been watching the show, commenting and stuff.
That's a great.
It is a great name. I can't. J Pants.
Johnny Pants. Who was the bloke that film? Did he used to get called Johnny Farty Pants when he was a kid? J Pants. Do you remember Johnny Farty Pants?
I do.
And he, but you would never. The way you look at me now is Johnny Pants like a huge bloke in the back of me.
It's something like the older boys used to talk about, like when I was in a pram.
When you was busy hiding from the Union Jack.
You know what I mean?
Perving on Jamie Oliver.
And on that note, he's John Ryan.
He is Jonathan Prince.
We are Brutally Johnest. Big up, peeps.
Step off the place,